Hello there guys, and welcome to A Legionary's Life. This is a fascinating game where, believe it or not, you have to become a legionary in the Roman army at the very, very low rank of Hastati and try and move your way up the rank. The game is mostly text-based, but it's got some really cool actual combat systems. It's also got some excellent items that you could purchase, a bunch of different stories and ranks that you can attain. There's just a lot here, and I am really, really glad to be taking a look at it. So join me on this journey as Agrippa Maxentius himself. That's right, I'm going to go for physical, because let's be honest, boys, I'm not too much into mental. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's go ahead and accept, and for my name, Agrippa Maxentius, and our journey begins in Rome, guys. Let's see just how far we can get. The skills I have is a natural swordsman, strength, constitution, etc. We have 5 points left, so I'm actually going to put, can I put anything into strength? I don't believe I can right now. I think we have to wait just a bit, but I don't mind getting the natural swordsman if we get 4,000. You get these for essentially unlocking gold in previous Let's Plays. I only did one and only got 5 points, so we don't have enough. We haven't spent all our available points. Yeah, that's all right. Let's take a look if there's anything else. So we already have starting weapons that are pretty good, starting gold. Oh, we can actually increase our starting Donati here, so why not? We'll go ahead and do that. In fact, there we go. Alright guys, got a little more money than the average Hastati. The first war started over the last 20 years. Conflict had been only a matter of time. Once the relentless expansion of Rome came close to the huge Carthaginian sphere of influence, a young power propelled by a staggering self-confidence, Rome had most of the Italic peninsula under its control at the time. On the other side was the Punic city of Carthage, a centuries-old naval colossus dominating the western Great Sea. An insurmountable gap in power and prestige seemed to divide the two cities. Unexpectedly, the Roman Republic emerged victorious, incomplete as the victory was. Building upon its success, the city's maritime territory grew larger and more secure, while humiliating conditions well beyond the actual extent of the defeat were imposed upon Carthage. Nevertheless, the price was tremendous for both parties. Some say that not even Alexander's conquest devoured so many lives. It's all paled compared to what was to come. The truce that followed lasted for a generation. You were a child when the situation hovered on the brink of war once again. You still remember the talk in Rome back then when everybody expected the looming conflict to take place in the distant colonies of Hispania to the west. Now that an attack by sea was nigh impossible, the astonishment when the news reached the city is still fresh in your memory. A bold Nyautnet 30 Carthaginian general named Hannibal Barca had led an army through the lands of the fierce Gauls and across the mountains to the north. The war was here in Italia, a few hundred miles from Rome itself. The following years were marked by growing panic as reports of whole armies annihilated by Hannibal kept coming. The Punic general was stronger, smarter than anything Rome had ever faced before. So guys, we're going to rush through this, but this is essentially about electing a new proconsul. You, on the other hand, had no choice at all. Right after you had come of age, you were enrolled in a freshly raised legion, part of a second 11,000-strong reinforcement bound to accompany the new proconsul. After a brief training period, you embarked on a long journey to Hispania. And the consul, usually there's two consuls, are the head of the Senate. Now you've reached your destination, enjoying what is left of the previous army. Apparently, with the Romans out of the picture, the Carthaginians have divided into 3 large hosts, each of them at least as big as your current force. They are a long way from your headquarters, committed to securing the whole region. So we have to essentially, guys, go ahead. We've got some time left until the second part of the story and decide what we want to do to increase our character. He's got some really good morale, but his virtue is not very good. I think sword skill is always important, so we're going to go for sword skill, and this will increase that. But as you can see, the time is starting to go ahead and fall a little bit. I'm actually going to jump back. We can even gamble here and try and win a little bit more money, but I think what's actually more important is to wait for our next payment and actually purchase some stuff. As for workouts, I'm definitely going to go to the gym here to improve our constitution, and coordination and endurance is also going to be very important. Let's be straightforward. All of this is going to be very, very important, but as you can see, the training doesn't always work. Over here, we actually increased our morale due to training. And another thing we can do is we can actually put in extra guard duty, which is what we're going to do right now, extra patrol. And we get some respect, I believe, among the centurion, our current leader, and the troops. So let's go on patrol, but we could have a random encounter here on patrol. The thread of your life is spun. 2 fellow soldiers are playing dice next to you. Suddenly, the one named Metellus turns on Volscenus and calls him a cheater. From where you stand, you are not sure whether he's right or wrong. Oh boy, we're gonna mind your own business for sure. You move away before you get dragged into their quarrel. That could have potentially gotten very, very violent here, so obviously a problem. Now we can also offer a sacrifice for 40 denarii. This might give us a large morale boost, or we can get some extra coaching, but we can only get this if we're an Optio or a Centurion. And currently, if you want to see what we are, our character, we are just a standard Hastati, just your average Hastati here. To grow, we have to do some amazing things in battle. As you can see, we have no deeds, not even vanquished enemies associated with our name right now, and I'm hoping that with time, we can change that. We'll also jump back here to the rest and relaxation part of this, which is going to be the leisure time. So we can play dice, win or lose. The troops' opinion may change as well, also for the better. And we can also just hang around, which will increase the troops' opinion of us, especially hanging out with our friends, other Hastati, etc. And there's a small chance we might get some morale to improve, and we could play a board game. But the success largely depends on our intellect, and let's face it, we're not very intellectual here. So instead, I think we should stick with training. Javelin practice is always great. Solo practice is always great. And also just received our regular pay, guys. 37 denarii. It may not sound like a lot, and it certainly isn't. But since we have that additional denarii, we're going to take a look here and see if we can't purchase something else. We've already got an Italic Xiphos, which is actually not bad. Well, this one is a lot better. As you can see, an attack of 4 and a defense of 3. Pretty much everything here is better than what we have right now, except maybe the pectoral plate. Let me actually compare it. So our current pectoral plate, no, it's the same exact thing we've got now. As for the Gladius Hispanius, let's compare it. It's slightly better than our Italic Xiphos, actually. And it's only 60, which is pretty cheap. How about the Etrusco Corinthian helmet? So once again, a lot better than our current helmet. So that's what we're going to actually buy, is the... Oh, we can't afford it! Alright, what about the Gladius Hispanus? I mean, honestly, if we can get a sword that's a lot better, I'm taking it. I'm going to take the Gladius Hispanus here, and I am going to equip the item I just bought. You better believe it. We could also sell items, but obviously we don't want to do that right now. And what it's telling us is that anytime you leave the market, the items that are there, like if you want to go sell things or get money to come back, you can't do that. It's going to randomize the items once again, which I think is really, really cool. And actually, I feel like gambling, guys. Let's gamble a little bit here. We're going to play some dice, and it looks like it's increased by 2, but I don't believe we made any money gambling. And there we go. We gain 1 denarius. We're also increasing opinion with our own troops, which is always a good thing. For workouts, I think we should definitely try to get that sword skill up as much as possible. So that's going to be our focus right now. We're going to go to training. We're just going to spar anyone worth... training, and oh, the winter is especially harsh. Without proper equipment, you'll have a hard time dealing with it. Let's buy some adequate clothes and sleeping gear for 25 denarii. We had 25 denarii, thankfully. Otherwise, who knows? That could have been game ending. So there we go. Solo practice is doing pretty well. Our morale is decreasing, though. So I'm actually, for our last foyer here, I'm going to jump over here, have some leisure time. I think we have 10 denarii. Let's see. No, but we'll at least hang around. Or at least our troop opinion will improve right now. Morale is going to be somewhat of a problem. Time is over, guys. It's time to move on. The camp bursts into activity as the whole army prepares to leave. You march to the south. It doesn't take long for your destination to become apparent. You are bound for New Carthage, the capital of the Carthaginian colonies here in Hispania. So this is in Spain. It's a daring move and very risky. Several days later, you reach your destination, then set camp not far from the city. According to Camp Talk, the closest enemy army is about 10 days' march from here. A long siege is out of the question. You'll have to take New Carthage by storm. You cast a glance at the city walls, strong stone walls. The thought of fighting your way up here makes your stomach churn. It's hard not to think that you may be looking at the place where your days will end. My goodness. So, of course, here we've got our inventory, all the morale, etc., our standard character. And what we want to do is we want to jump in, continue. The game is hardcore, so once you die, you die. And here we go. If what your centurion said is true, a garrison of New Carthage consists of a small mercenary army, possibly 1,000 strong, and of course the city militia. You are taking your place on the battlefield when all of a sudden cries of alarm rise from the ranks. You look ahead with a start. The city gate is wide open. A screaming mass numbering thousands leaves the safety of the walls, quickly closing the gap with your partially deployed first time. Judging by their scan equipment, they must be the militia. The enemy commander wouldn't risk his precious mercenaries like this. Blood pounding in your ears, you get ready to receive them as the first battle of your life engulfs you. Here we go, guys. We're going to be facing our first fight. When the other side is at the right distance, you prepare to hurl your javelin, and I am going to actually try to pick off a specific target. And not a bad throw, but it misses the intended target. At this point, guys, we are in combat in this game. I don't want to put you through the tutorial here, so I'll try to explain as best I can. The red is your health. The blue is your stance. You want your stance... Oh, there we go. Nice. So the stance represents a character's balance and readiness. You want this to be as good as possible, and obviously one way to get it is to escape enemy attacks or to defend yourself. And of course, the bottom one is the fatigue. So first, I'm going to hurl my javelin, although, oh, we actually did break a shield, which is amazing. But as you can see there, the chance of actually getting the hit was not going to be very good. We also have a combat log here, which lets us know what's going on. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use my shield to try and knock him. And we did succeed. As you can see, his stance has dropped, but he's recovered. I'm going to go for a soft spot here, and we can actually take a look and see which would do the most damage. The head right now is the one that's most likely for us to get. As you can see the thumbs up sign. Think of it as a percentage of whether you're going to succeed or fail. So we'll go ahead, and we actually did get a hit. He's at 16. Let's attack again. Well, actually, he's somewhat recovered, so once again, we're going to try to knock him with the shield. Now, he actually resisted that hit, recovered, and is trying a feint. Bullet, come on, man, really? You got to do this now? Let's attack... The groin would actually be a good area to attack, or maybe the torso. Let's go for the torso. Now, his stance is pretty good, but we still managed to get through. So this time, I am going to once again and knock. Now, in case we start losing some of our own fatigue, or we start being fatigued ourselves, or our stance starts getting messed up, we want to get recover or respite. But both of these are not looking good. So we can try to recover stance. But what I'm actually going to do is I am going to charge. Oh boy, he missed his attack on the groin. I think we're going to have to try and go for a soft spot again. Not looking good. I think we're going to have to try and knock. And again, even this isn't looking good. Let's try and recover here. Let's see if he'll let us recover. We failed. He's also trying to recover, although his particular health is not doing great. Yeah, we definitely have to get that that stance back. And now he's hitting us for quite a lot of damage here. We're going to try to attack back. The arm actually looks like a possibility here. We're still probably going to miss the opponent. I'll feint. This is all we can really do. So we'll go for a normal feint. Oh, he missed. He did miss. He missed twice. Okay, now his status is as bad as ours. I'm going to try to recover. We failed the recovery. We're going to have to go for an attack, guys. I'm going to hit the head once again. We missed. He's recovering. We got to keep on going. We can't stop. Attack again. Hit the head with the Gladius. 18. He's so close to being down, guys. We might get our first kill here. I'm going to go for the torso. This is an easy attack, and we killed our first militiamen all by ourselves. Eventually, the enemy formation starts breaking apart. Very soon, panic spreads as their wavering turns into a rout. Guys, we are so lucky that we won that one. We really let it go in terms of the stance. The Carthaginian militia is in disarray. For a brief moment, you stare at the bodies scattered across the ground. A few legionaries, but the vast majority are militiamen. In the ensuing chaos, you barely have time to think about your first kill. An improvised pursuit is attempted, but your vanguard is stopped at the city gate before it can break in. Alright, boys. So now our deeds will actually show that we vanquished an enemy militiaman, which is a really nice achievement, or a nice addition to the game. Now, our health is not good, so I'm not sure what we do about that, except try and essentially hold on as long as we can. We don't have enough denarii to really purchase any sort of equipment, so I will continue. The Centurion beckons to some of your comrades. After a brief talk, they move away from the maniple. You wonder what's going on. The rest of you will storm the city walls. Many ladders are being propped up against the walls, while a constant shower of missiles is raining down from the battlements. The Centurion promised to share a generous portion of his reward should he manage to be the first man over the walls. We want to do our best to stay alive, especially after we just got wounded. We start climbing alongside the others, trying to protect yourself as best you can. You keep your shield higher and are unhurt by the missiles falling from above. The cacophony is unbearable. Cries from both enemies and allies blend with the thuds of stones and smaller projectiles bouncing all around you. Suddenly, the noise begins to dwindle and fade. You can't believe what you are seeing. Hundreds of Roman legionaries are running along the top of the wall coming from the north. How did they get there? Anyhow, the Punics are melting before them, leaving the battlements unguarded. In the end, your allies reach the gate and open it, letting in the bulk of your legions. Oh, beautiful. Now let's see, did our health go up at all? No, it didn't. That's too bad. Alright, we'll continue. You follow the maniple into the city streets. Your orders are very clear. Secure the city by killing everything that meets you in the open. Hopefully, nobody will be so ill-considered. Your thoughts are interrupted when a small number of militiamen stand in your path. Guys, this could be the end of my life right here in the game. We really don't know. I'm going to start with a feint. Actually, that doesn't look good enough. What about a shield? This is our best chance. Go with a knock. And that's a fail. Let's try and recover. Okay, we actually succeeded in recovering this time, and the enemy actually missed with their attack, so I'm going to try and knock with the shield again. We failed with the knock. A quick feint by the enemy. Yeah, that's not going to work for us. Shield, that's not going to work for us either. Recover is not going to work. Soft spot's not going to work. Just about everything is looking pretty bad right now, except potentially an attack to the arm. And who knows, maybe we can disable this arm. So we actually did hit it, but he recovered, and I am going to recover as well. So with that attack, that actually bought us some time. I'm going to do the same again. We succeeded. Our stance is pretty good, but so is his. We need to be very careful here. I'm going for a feint. Let's go for a quick feint. Failed it! Oh! And he actually succeeded with his feint, but look at this, guys. We've got two comrades that joined us in this battle. Now, this doesn't give us as much respect if we win and kill this guy. That being said, you know, at least we'll survive this fight if everything goes well. So I'm going to go for a groin attack here, and we did hit with 10 damage. Sorry about that, buddy, but one of us has to survive, and you can see my friends are also doing serious damage to this guy. Let's go for the leg. I don't want him escaping. We actually missed. He recovered. And it looks like maybe our health is all the way back up. Is that possible? That would be pretty neat. I think our friends are going to finish him off, but let's see if we can find a soft spot here. Let's go for a torso attack. It's a miss. Oh, that's a hit. And a hit. Good work, boys. And we actually get some respect with our fellow Centurions. You look at the militiaman's lifeless body, quick thoughts flickering through your mind. Now, obviously, just like in any other sort of RPG, which this is partially, we need to sort of pick what our character is like. I'm trying to make this character seem as much like me as possible, and I'm not saying I'm the nicest guy in the world, but I think even on a battlefield, especially against an enemy that's, you know, not particularly my enemy, just happens to be somebody that we want to conquer, I'm going to feel pity for him. Drafted into service, forced to fight to defend his home, it does ring a bell. You wonder about the people waiting for him at home, never to see him come back. Our virtue has increased, so that was actually good because our virtue was pretty bad. An officer yelling orders brings you back down to earth with a bump. You move on. You keep marching along the streets. As is custom, looting is strictly prohibited until the battle is over. Interesting. And we don't even get away from those rules. I think if our virtue was higher, or maybe another one of our skills, maybe charisma or awareness, we might even have a chance to steal some stuff early on, but we're not going to do that. We're simply going to continue here. New Carthage is almost conquered, but 500 mercenaries from the garrison are still holding the citadel. The proconsul is looking for volunteers for an assault on this last bastion. He's throwing in a more than double loot share. These mercenaries are nothing like the militia you've been fighting until now. They may not be the enemy's best troops, they wouldn't have been left here if they were, but they are still professional soldiers. Only the most experienced legionaries are volunteering. No one would blame you if you backed off. Definitely going to back off, guys. I'm trying to live, not trying to be a hero necessarily. After a brief but intense struggle, the garrison surrenders. There we go. Wow. So I wonder what happens now. Obviously, our deeds are up here, our vanquished enemies. We don't have any heroic deeds, but still, we've got a few kills. And now I'm going to continue. New Carthage has fallen. For the first time in so many years, a change in the tides of war appears within grasp. This increases our morale dramatically. We receive 80 denarii from the loot. I was expecting to get a little bit more, but I'll take it. Your army has obtained an important base of operations. The city's resource will be invaluable for the rest of the campaign. Couldn't agree more. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching so far. I'd love to do a campaign on this and play another game. We could even try and set up different kinds of characters, but let me know if you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new. I can't say that enough. And share the video with your friends. We're a strategy channel. We're an indie game channel, so getting viewers is always a challenge. We need more people to join. Also, make sure to hit that bell so that you actually get updates for future episodes. Thanks again, folks.